So let's start now our discussion for today. All right, so can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so before we start, I just would like to ask you if you guys have a question or clarification so far regarding with the topics that we've discussed last meeting or regarding with your quizzes. Do you guys have any problem or concerns?
None, sir.
All right,
None, sir.
okay. All right, so it seems that most of you don't have a question. Anyway, so let's start now. So our topic for today is problem solving. Okay, chapter 3, problem solving. So before we start, I would like you guys to know that we have actually basically two topics only when it comes to this one. So we're going to use inductive reasoning and then deductive reasoning. Okay, so first, in solving a problem is we're going to use inductive reasoning. So what is inductive reasoning? So inductive reasoning is a form of a conclusion based on the examination of specific examples is called inductive reasoning. Okay, so inductive reasoning is you're basing on a certain or a specific example. Okay, so if you're observing or if you're trying to predict what will be the next pattern or what will be the next value based on those examples, then you're using your inductive reasoning. Okay, so the conclusion formed by using inductive reasoning is a conjecture. Okay, so you're trying to conject or you're trying to project what might be the next thing that will happen. Okay, so this conjecture is of course 50-50. Okay, it's not sure, you're not sure yet. Okay, it may be 50% correct or 50% wrong. Okay, or sometimes 100% correct, 100% wrong. So depends. So inductive reasoning is a process of reaching a general conclusion by examining specific examples. Okay, so when you examine a list of numbers and predict the next number in the list according to some pattern you have observed, you are using inductive reasoning. So basically, the very definition of inductive reasoning is you're basing something uh, on an example or on the past things that happen, okay, or on the data that you've gathered before. So that is inductive reasoning. Okay, so let's have an example. So use inductive reasoning to predict the next number in each of the following lists. So as you can see right here, we have an example 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So what could be the next number? Anyone? What is the next number in number 1? Okay, so 18 from Mr. Batkagan. So where did you get that 18? It came from, what?
Sir,
Mhm. Wait, is that one? Adding 3. I've read adding 3. Adding 3. So adding 3 coming from Mr. Batkagan. No, but it came from those certain examples like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Those 5 examples. Okay, or those 5 patterns. So without those, you will not be able to predict on what will be the next number. Okay, so you have a basis. Okay, so if that's the case, then you're using inductive reasoning. Okay, so the number 1 answer is 18. Okay, this is by adding 3. How about number 2? 1, 3, 6, 10, 15.
sir, 21.
21. So plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, and then plus 6. So it's incrementing by 1. So starting from 2 and then until you reach 6. So 6 plus 15 is 21. So this one is also came from example. Okay, so with those 5 examples, 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, you were able to predict that the next number is 21. Okay, so in this case, we've used inductive reasoning. So here's the solution. Okay, so I'll leave the reading part onto you guys since you guys already know this one. So right after that example, of course, we're going to have, a quiz, a short quiz again. This is by applying inductive reasoning. Okay, anyway, this one is like a bonus already. So this one is super easy. Okay, so this is your first quiz on inductive reasoning to predict a number. Okay, so next example. Use inductive reasoning to make a conjecture. So when say conjecture, it is the expected number that you're trying to expect from that example or from that basis. So consider the following procedure. Pick a number, multiply the number by 8, add 6 to the product, divide the sum by 2, and subtract it by 3. Okay, so complete the above procedure for several different numbers. So use inductive reasoning to make conjecture about the relationship between the size of the resulting number and the size of the original number. So in here, we will try to compare the result from the original number, okay, from picking a number up to the result. So of course, first we have to do those steps. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So we have 5 steps of total. Okay. So pick a number, multiply the number by 8, add 6 to the product, divide the sum by 2, and then subtract it by 3. Okay. Of course, we already have here the solution. So let's say we assume that we pick number 5. Okay. Just for us to have a common result. Then the procedure would produce the following results. So the first one is, of course, the original number, and then multiplying it by 8. So 5 times 8 is 40. And then 40 plus 6 is 46. 46 divided by 2 is 23. 23 divided by 3, 23 minus 3, I'm sorry, not divide. 23 minus 3 is 20. So as you can see right here, you started from 5 and then ending with 20 or a result of 20 by following those 5 steps. So what is your conjecture or what is your conclusion based from those 5 steps? What did you guys realize? So we have 5 and then ended with a result of 20. So you can get other numbers. Pick your own number and then do those process and then make a conjecture from it. So I'll give you guys 3 minutes. Very fast. Good for you, Mr. Patkagan. How about the others? You guys have the same conjecture? The answer or the result will be always 4 times the original just by following these 5 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So in here, if you, let's say, start with 6 as your original number, it will produce a result of 24. Okay, it's times 20 or times 4. And then if you started from 10, it will produce a final result of 40. So still times 4. So starting with 100 produces a final result of 400. So in each of these cases, the resulting number is 4 times the original number. So we could say that our conjecture for these certain steps, okay, just by following those 5 steps, so we could say that conjecture is 4 times the resulting number is 4 times the original number. Okay. So did you guys get it so far?
Instructor.
Did you guys get it so far? Or is there someone who's lost or who didn't understand? So conjecture is like your final thoughts on following same steps over and over again. Okay. So this is one good example. Just by following those 5 steps, we realize that the original number is always 5 times the result. So of course, after that example, you're going to have a quiz, which is also very similar with this one. It is a different number. So pick a number, multiply the number by 9, add divide the sum by 3, and then subtract it by 5. So yeah. So I did next. I think I added, wait, let me just read this one. I added additional information. Complete the following procedures to enact reason to make an extra but the relationship between the size of the resulting. Start with 5, next 6, 10, 10. All right. So actually, basically, you can pick any number, okay? But just in case, you cannot pick a number, you cannot choose a number. So you can start with 5, next is 6, and then 10 and 40, and then 100. And then from those examples that you use, so make a conjecture about the number and the original. Make a conjecture about the relationship between the size of the resulting number and the original number. So the same question with the last example. Okay, it's just that different numbers. So multiplied by 9, add 15, etc., etc. Okay, so this one will be your second quiz. All right. Any questions so far? Question, guys? You guys still there?
None, sir.
All right. So this will be your second quiz. So moving on. So this is quite history when it comes to using inductive reasoning. So before, scientists often use inductive reasoning. Of course, they always use this one. Okay, based from this example, based from this result, based from this data. So let's say, for instance, Galileo Galilei. So he used inductive reasoning to discover that the time required for a pendulum to complete one swing is called the period of pendulum. So he's the one actually, what do you call this one? Discovered the period of the pendulum. Okay, so this is his idea. So Galileo did not have a clock, so he measured the periods of pendulum in heartbeats. Okay, so before, since clock is not that famous, so he uses his heartbeats to measure the periods of pendulum. So the following table shows some results obtained for pendulums of various lengths. So for the sake of convenience, a length of 10 inches has been designated as 1 unit. Okay, so as you can see right here, this is where you can see the length of pendulum in units. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, and 36. And then this is where you will see the period of pendulum in heartbeats. So if you have 1 unit, okay, so this one is considered as one period or one swing. If you have 4 units, okay, it will give you 2 swings or 2 period. So take note that 1 period is, let's say, you've started from this side, and then as it go to the other side, and then as it go back to the original position, that is one swing already. Okay, original, and then going back to its original, then that's one period of pendulum. I think I indicated it here, yeah. So the period pendulum is the time it takes for pendulum to swing from left to right and back to its original position. Okay, so it should go back to its original position for you to be able to say that it's one swing or one period already. Okay, so as you can see right here, if we have a length of 1, we have 1 period. For 4 lengths, we have 2 periods. And then for 9 lengths, we have 3 periods. And then for 16 length, we have 4 periods. 25 is 5, and then 36 is 6. So from here, what is your conjecture, or what can you see? Let's say we have here seven period pendulum. What is the length of that pendulum? for us to be able to have a 7 periods of pendulum?
49.
49. That's good. So
Sir,
as
kung ilan yung period ng pendulum mo, yun yung length ng pendulum mo.
what is the unit of your pendulum? That is ano, Paulette? Can you give me an example?
Sir, kung ilan pa yung number ng pendulum heartbeats mo, yun yung pendulum ng units mo.
So kung meron akong 7, so 7 heartbeats. So mineasure niyo yun. Okay. So yeah, I think parang ganun yung pag-measure niya dati kung paano niya sabing. Yun ba? Hindi ba pag bumalik, okay, from original position, so kapag nag-swing ka na, and then bumalik sa original position, that's already 1 period of pendulum. Is it by heartbeat? In heartbeat, so 1 heartbeat is 1 length, 2 heartbeats is 4 lengths, and then 3 heartbeats is 9 length. Teka lang. Following people will show some sort of hindi lang nakadepende sa length, okay? Nakadepende rin sa dalawa. Pero mostly sa length kasi yun yung magdidikta kung ilang periods of pendulum yung kaya niyang gawin. So let's say we have 49 inch, 49 units of length. So magkakaroon tayo dito ng period of pendulums of 7. Okay? Kasi yun yung nakita nating pattern or that is our conjecture from this example. Okay? But in here, kasi as far as I know, let's say when say period pendulum, that's one complete swing from left to right and then going back to its original position. But it says here in heartbeats. So maybe it has a constant speed wherein one period of pendulum, equivalent to heartbeats or the heartbeat of Mr. Galileo Galilei, since all of us doesn't have the same, rhythm of heartbeat. So some has a fast heartbeat, some just or mostly has normal, and then some has a slow heartbeat. So for Mr. Galileo Galilei, so yeah, one period of pendulum is one heartbeat also. Okay, so it already finished 2 periods, that's already 2 heartbeats. Yeah. But anyway, so the conjecture for this one is 49 and then 7. Yeah. 7 times 7 is 49. So basically, it's squared by itself. So if we have here 1, squared it, still get 1. If we have here 2 heartbeats, then you'll get 4 lengths of pendulum. If we have 3 heartbeats, you'll get 9. So 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 4. 5 squared is 25. And then 6 squared is 36. And then lastly, or the next value is 7 squared, which is 49 lengths of pendulum. Okay. All right. So let's have another example. So use inductive reasoning to solve an application. Okay. So we have here the length of pendulums in units and then the period of pendulum in heartbeats. 1.916 divided by 36. We have
7.
answer this one. Yes? Who's that? So use the data in above table and inductive reasoning to answer each of the following questions. Okay, so if a pendulum has a length of 49 units, what is its period? So nasagutan na natin to, okay, kasi pinasagot ko na nga pala dito. So the next one is 49 here and then 7. Okay. But how about the number 2? If the length of pendulum is quadrupled, what happens to its period?
Sir, times 4.
Times 4. Yeah, very good. Hindi. Sa period tayo, sa period. Ano yung mangyayari sa period? Okay. So if the length of pendulum, this one, the left side, okay, was quadrupled, what happens to its period? So very good, Mr. De Polo. So it's not quadrupled, but it's only doubled. Okay. So if we have, let's say, for example, 4, and then you quadruple this one. So 4 times 4 is 16. So what happened to our period? So from 2, it became 4. So times 2. So quadrupled in lengths and then doubled in units. Okay, so let's try one more time. So this one is a 9, and then let's say quadruple this one is 36. So from 3 will become 6. So just double. Okay. So those are our conjectures from number 1 and number 2. Okay, so the period number 1 is 7, and then the if the length of a pendulum is quadrupled, what happens to its period? So our conjecture here is as the length of pendulum quadrupled, the period of pendulums doubled. Okay. So those are our conjectures. So here's the solution for those 2 questions. So I will leave the reading to you guys. Okay. So we have here the number 1 and then the number 2. All right. So as usual, right after that example, you're going to have a quiz, okay, which is very similar with the last example. Okay, so a tsunami is a sea wave produced by an underwater earthquake. So the height of tsunami as it approaches land depends on the velocity of the tsunami. So use the table below and inductive reasoning to answer each of the following questions. So we have here the velocity of tsunami in feet per second. And then we have here the height of tsunami in feet. So if we have a velocity of 6, we have a height height in feet of 4. We have 24, we have 64. So here are the questions. So what happens to the height of a tsunami when its velocity is doubled? Okay, so don't worry. So you can make your conjecture for now, and then as soon as I finish creating this module, okay, in your canvas, so we can just choose whatever is the closest answer that you have in your paper, since of course this one will be multiple choice, okay, not fill in the blanks. And then for number 2, what should be the height of a tsunami if its velocity is 30 feet per second? So we only have up to 24 feet here. So what about if we have 30 feet per second? So what is the height of the tsunami? Okay. So do you guys have a question so far up to this point? You now have a total of 3 quizzes, I think. Yeah, 3 quizzes. So there's more. Okay. Question, guys, before we proceed to the next one? Question or clarification? Hello? You guys still there?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sir,
Wala. Okay. So wala kayong katanungan? Alright. So mabuti naman. So I hope you really fully understand. So dalawa lang yan eh. It's either you fully understand it. Yes. Ano yan? Mr. Odan?
sir, but di ko po mag-get, sir.
Yung.
Nandito po, yung quiz something.
Kaya nga quiz eh. So may iintindihan mo na yan kapag tinutukan mo na talaga. So don't worry, each of those quizzes will be have an ample amount of time. Let's say 30 minutes or 1 hour. Hindi naman yan isang
Naka-open
titigil.
mic. Naka-open mic.
So, kayo na bahala dito. Quiz nyo to eh. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin, hindi ako pwedeng magsabi ng hint. Okay. Kaya niyo yan. So, 2 questions only. Okay. So kaya nga inductive reasoning, kailangan gamitin natin yung yung reasoning skills natin, kung gaano tayo kagaling. Bakit kaya 24 doon tapos 64 dito? Okay, ano kayang computation? Ano kayang pattern? Okay, so critical thinking. Okay, so yun yung dine-develop natin dito sa inyo. Alright? Is there any other queries or question?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so wala na?
I mean, take it, sir.
Lasing ka yata eh. Anyway, so let's proceed.
Sir, nade-delay lang po.
Nadidelay lang. Okay. So yun, may latency kasi talaga. Anyway, so let's continue now to the next one. Alright, so consider the column figures and the pattern suggested. So we have here number of points connected and then the number of regions formed. So if we have number of, let's say 2 number of points, one here and then another one here, which is 2 points. And then if you connect it together, you'll form a number of regions of 2. So 1 and then 2. If you have a number of points of 3 and then you connect those points with each other, say 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so a total of 3 points. You were able to form a regions of 4. If you have 4 number of points and then connect all of those with each other, you'll form a regions of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 5, we have 16. If we have 6, what is now our number of regions for? Can you guys guess? According from those examples. So you guys have 5 minutes. Okay, so I would like you to do this one using so you can use your computer actually, but I think it's a lot easier in using your paper, I guess. You can use your own paper. Or you can use
Sir, 24.
24? Sure? Okay, so we will see later on. Okay, what about the others?
32.
31 or 33? You will see, okay? So some answered 32, some answered 31 or 33. Some even answered 24, 32. Okay, so most of you are 32. Kayo sumasagot kayo, hindi nyo pa napapatunayan. So we will see, okay? So you guys still have 4 minutes. So 32, 32. May nagtatry ba dyan?
Sir, 32 pala.
32. Alright. So most of you predicted that as our number of points increased by 1, let's say from 5 to 6, our number of regions form is getting doubled all the time. So from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, and then 16 to 32. So we will see later on if it's really 32. Is there still someone who's trying to answer? May nagtatry ba via paper, via cellphone, via paint, or kahit ano? Basta mahalaga, maplat or magawa talaga no actual. Hindi yung nag-base lang dito sa example? Well, definitely that's inductive reasoning. Okay, that's our first
18.
ilan? 18?
Joke
21.
lang, sir. Joke lang.
So yung mga sumagot kayo, yung mga sumagot ng sobrang bilis, 1 minute, 2 minutes pa lang. So yun yung mga gumamit talaga ng inductive reasoning. Okay? Kasi nga, yun, nag-base na siya sa example. And then, sa tingin niya, ito yung mangyayari. So, makikita natin. May nagtatry pa ba? Para mapakita ko na yung sagot.
32, sir.
32. 32 kayong lahat. Alright. So, sa tingin ko wala nang sumasagot. Okay, so may 21. Ang laki ng 21. So, ang tama sa inyo, okay, is isa lang. Okay? So, the correct answer is, or the answer of Mr. Patkagan is the correct answer. Okay, so it's either 31 or 33. Okay, not 32. Okay, so bakit ganon? So there appears to be a pattern. So yes, yun na as our number of points increment by 1, our number of regions is being doubled all the time. Okay, so each additional point seems to be double the number of regions. So guess the maximum number of regions you expect for a circle with 6 dots. So check your guess by counting the maximum number of regions formed by the line segments that connect 6 dots on a large circle. So your drawing will show that for 6 dots, the maximum number of regions is 31. Okay, so not 32 as you may have guessed. So yun na nga. From your conjecture or from your inductive reasoning, so it's very common na yung sasagot niyo is 32. Kapag hindi nyo siya ginawa via paper talaga, okay? Not on actual. Pero okay lang yan. Okay, ganoon naman talaga. Kahit ako rin naman, ganoon naman yung first na kan ko. Pero nung trinay ko siya manually, so hindi pala. So with 7 dots, the maximum number of regions is 57. Okay. So this is a good example to keep in mind. So just because a pattern holds true for a few cases, it does not mean the pattern will continue. Okay. So when you use inductive reasoning, you have no guarantee that your